Donald Trump has a very small chance of actually winning more votes than Joe Biden in the presidential election, just 3%, according to FiveThirtyEight's forecast model. But he still has a somewhat better shot of winning anyway, the same way he did last time, through the magic of the Electoral College. The presidential election isn't decided by the number of votes you get overall. It's decided by whether you get more votes in the right states. Whichever candidate ends up winning contests that add up to 270 electoral votes is the winner. In other words, it doesn't necessarily matter that polls show Biden ahead by nearly 9 percentage points nationally. What matters is the exact breakdown of the votes in key politically divided states like Florida, Pennsylvania, and North Carolina. It gets weirder. In the election itself, the states aren't technically choosing a presidential candidate. They're choosing representatives in the Electoral College, the electors, who are actual people who will cast the electoral votes determining the president in December. Overall, the Electoral College is a patchwork Frankenstein's monster of a system, which in the best of times merely ensures millions of Americans' votes are irrelevant to the outcome because they don't live in competitive states, and in the worst of times could be vulnerable to a major crisis. And yet, for the foreseeable future, it's the system we're stuck with. Point 1. What is the Electoral College, and how does it work? A generous definition of the Electoral College swing states and districts for 2020. Andrew Prokop. The presidential election is generally portrayed as a battle to win states and their accompanying electoral votes. If Biden wins Vermont, he'll get its 3 electoral votes. If Trump wins Alaska, he'll get its 3 electoral votes. Whoever gets to 270 or more electoral votes first, a majority of the 538 total, wins the election. So rather than simply trying to win the most actual votes in the country, a presidential campaign must try to put together a map of state victories that will amass more than 270 electoral votes. That's the simplified version. What's happening under the hood, though, is more complicated. When people go to the polls to vote for a presidential candidate, what they are actually doing is voting for each party's nominated slate of electors in their respective states or, in the case of Maine and Nebraska, in congressional districts too. So when Donald Trump won Alaska in 2016, the practical effect was that the Republican Party's nominated elector slate there, former Governor Sean Parnell, Jacqueline Tupou, and Carolyn Leman, officially became Alaska's 3 electors. This process repeated itself across the country, resulting in the selection of the Electoral College, the 538 electors who cast their votes for president in their respective states in December.